Hi guys, I'm Jochem Terminio. I'm the CMO at Lea. I'd like to talk a bit about spatial experiences beyond XR. So what do we mean beyond XR? Our ambition is to actually bring what we call the digital moments to make them immersive and get all these digital moments to be immersive. And not just being in a specific location with a specific device, no, on your everyday moment. Just any moment. So a moment like you can call, you're on a computer, what have you, they should be immersive. They can be immersive. When back in the days, first, television was invented, or less before that, just going to a cinema, it was black and white. And it was not because they wanted to be black and white, but that was technologically available at the time. At some point, somewhere in the 60s, that transitioned to color. Color was possible. And yet, we all know, especially in this place, today you can experience VR, you can experience AR, you can a lot of things to get more immersive to actually get that. But our main medium, our phone that's in your pocket, or most of the computers or monitors you're using on a day-to-day basis, they are compressing all of the images into one single area. And we believe we can actually break that. We don't want to change the consumer, we don't want to change consumer behavior, but we actually believe we can change the device to make that experience for you on any device, whatever it is. So I'm going to try to explain how we do that. So the base we have at Lea Inc. is what we call the Immersity Platform. It's a technology platform that consists of a combination of software, AI, and hardware. And we aim to bring that immersive experience to users, so they, first and foremost, can enjoy that content. You can enjoy a game differently, you can watch a sports game. If it's in medical, all of these parts, the first and foremost is what we bring is an immersive experience to users. And to do that, we are licensing our technology to OEMs. So you will see it as an example, Samsung or an Acer, they can get our technology and create an immersive experience with that device, which in the end helps also the big tech. Because we all know AI is everywhere, but the next level of AI is to become spatial. And to become spatial, it helps when you have a device which also is spatial. So, and we believe we can do all these three things together. But let me start with the experience. And it's hard to show it here, especially on these screens. But I have here a guy called Dave 2D, and he reviewed one of our laptops in the time, and this was his reaction, just to give you an idea.
Show me. It's on our... Oh, yeah. Dude! How's it doing it?
So you see he's trying here to grab something which is virtually for him. It's there. He feels it's there. It has presence. He cannot touch it, but it's there. He sees it and he feels it's there. And that's something you can experience. If you go down to our booth, you can see the same, or later talk to me with this tablet. It does the same thing. But that's an experience that our technology brings. And we're there for quite some time. I think since 2014, we started with our first, let's say, attempts to bring immersive experiences. And especially since 2021, we've been bringing that to commercial devices. So really products you can buy today. You don't need me, you don't need us. You can actually go to the store and buy them. But it's still getting there. And we are, as you see today, in some devices, some people are actively using us. But the most people are using a smartphone. And most smartphones are just simple. And they are interactive. You can use them for a lot of different things. The previous speaker was talking about them as well. Like the competition went up. But we believe that transition from interaction is going to more immersive experiences. And that becomes dominant in 2030. And that's our ambition, to unlock that and to actually help to accelerate that. And I'll show you a bit how we can do that. But first and foremost, we believe we can do it because we are operating on a sweet spot between bringing something which is immersive, like you're seeing me with your two eyes in stereo. If we're all in the same room, I can see, I know where you are, how far you are from me. So it's immersive, but it's also easy. And by combining that, so a smartphone is easy, a VR glass is immersive. What if you combine both and you have something which is immersive just in the palm of your hand? And that helps to accelerate adoption. Because we can all be happy here that we have a few thousand people using the technology, but we're not looking at thousands, we're looking at millions to scale. Can this be an everyday device that you're using on it? So how do we do that? A bit more into the tech. I mentioned we're a combination of spatial, AI, software, and hardware. So the part of the AI and the software is really about understanding the user and the content, and the hardware is helping to transition that device from a regular device to something which is capable of doing something more. So let's start with the software part. So if you have content, most pictures or video, they're already compressed. And we often get the question like, okay, if I have a screen which is immersive, what content do I show? Well, if you have native 3D content, is the game, whatever you can show it directly. But if it's not native, what we can do, we can actually look at that content and we can actually make it immersive. We can transition in real time. If you want, for example, a YouTube movie or anything which is real time doesn't matter what, on device and make it immersive. So your experience is immersive. If you don't believe me, come to see our booth and I'll show you how that actually works. So if you have immersive content, then what the next step is about, you need to understand who's in front of you. And what we do is we have a single user viewer experience. Why? Because then we can track where that person is, and we can make sure that that person actually has a perfect experience, that experience is fluid. Because when you see something immersive, when you see something in stereo, it needs to be real. If it's not real, you will reject it. You will say, no, this doesn't work for me, it's not feeling the right way. And the way of doing that is a combination of having that spatial viewpoints, understanding where that viewer is, and making it visible for that person. So that then translates in what we call a holographic experience. So you see here the user in front of a device, in this case a monitor. The content can come forward, like the window is open, or be backwards. But even the location of the viewer determines how the content is being displayed. Like in real time, if I'm changing my viewpoint versus this, the content changes. That's what's happening in the real world. So that's the same thing that we do. So then you have content that you can enjoy, but you need a bit of a hardware to do so. And that's the other part that we have. We have a switchable display. What's switchable? What means it's a normal display. It displays any content. You can read emails, you can do whatever you do on a normal display. It's a normal display. But we can switch it to become an immersive display, and then it no longer showcases regular content, but it projects something holographic. And it does that, and you see that a bit in this animation, by all of a sudden the lenses, they actually start to activate and they start to steer a light so that there's one image going to your left eye and one image going to your right eye. And if you do that, you see something stereo, and when you see something stereo with your two eyes, we see depth. Then our brain does the rest because it then understands this is a position, how it moves. So if I translate that into something schematic, from left to right, you have content. Either the content is native, 3D, like a game, and you have two viewpoints, or it's a single content, mono. If it's single, we can make it stereo. We call it immersive stereo. So we use AI to make it stereo. And then we push it to a runtime. And our runtime then looks, okay, where's that user? Where's that viewpoint of that person? This is the Immersity cell, so the hardware itself, the switchable cell, and that then translates into a holographic projection. So basically, any content can be made holographic on any device. We get people here at the booth asking, could you showcase this? Of course. We don't need special conditions. It's just content that we display. And we don't try to change your way of working. We're just simply displaying it in an immersive way. The platform works with Windows, Android, and Unreal, Unity, OpenXR. So it's about industry standards. I'll show you a bit about that. And that's the core that we do. So instead of making a specific device for a specific case, which can be very useful, don't get me wrong, we try to transition a device for every day to give it immersive experience whenever you need it and whenever you want. And as I said, it's a proven solution. So you can buy these devices in the market, a tablet like this one, a monitor with Samsung, or a laptop. There are multiple devices in the market with, we believe, good reviews. And what we try to do here is scale further. Because we do realize we're just a company within the total, and it's all about how the power of the system works together. So what we try to do is getting an ecosystem rolling. So we're working on one end with the OEMs, with the tech companies, with the manufacturers, but on the other end, we're also working with the software vendors, the solution providers, developers, partners in telecom, and what have not, to make sure that everybody is aligned on this same immersive case. So that's what we do. And that then translates into several use cases. So to give you an idea, if it's productivity, if it's designing, in medical, education to learn about, there are so many cases, verticals, where actually when the experience becomes immersive, it's useful, that we can actually operate. And I made a small move to showcase a few. So communication, calling, video calling, immersive video calling is a key thing. When people's doing an immersive call, they feel closer to that person. You have body language that you interact with. When you're designing, you can design something, you can abstract a design which is compressed to something spatial. But actually, when it's spatial directly, it's easier to actually understand what's happening. In terms of education, for kids to learn how an animal looks like, you can go to the zoo or whatever, but you can get it up front and really get the details. Or chemistry, how molecules work. Social, to get better with content, to get the content engaged, to feel part of that scene. Same with sports, like you're being close to the game. The World Cup is today, so feel that you're almost there and you see really that people in action. And last, gaming, it's a very popular one because gaming is often, the base is already, it's a 3D world that you access and you can feel closer to. So we believe with Immersity, we give a lot of benefits. And in this case, let's zoom in on professionals, how does it help you? Well, the first thing is is a direct feedback. You make a change and you directly see it and you can actually adjust, especially when the screen is switchable. It just takes a blink and then you move back and forth between programs, whatever you want. But more importantly is when you want to present something. So imagine you are an architect and you want to show your interior design that you made to the person that gave you the assignment. Well, for you, maybe it's easy to understand how to visualize how it looked like, but if you're not used to it, it's very hard. So when you want to present something, you can showcase to that person, well, this is what I designed. But most important is you are still in direct contact with that same person. At the moment you put somebody in a headset, you've lost some of the communication. Like it or not, it's just gone. And we see that a lot of people actually, that's very appreciated. And you will see us actually doing it. We will present something to you, you will review it, but we can still see how your reactions, what you like, what are you interested in, and you still have the dialogue there. And that's to the last part is understanding. So especially in medical, you see a patient to doctor or doctor to patient. If you have a similar understanding, well, this is the issue, what we actually see, and this is Barker, one of our customers, they see their patients actually having less questions. They have more trust in their doctor because the doctor's better to explain them what the issue is or what are they going to do, how they're going to operate. So it's all about getting a better understanding. You don't need to manually make a visualization of the look. You can actually just see it. As said, we're working with industrial standards. So what we try to do is not something in isolation, but something that can be reused. So if you make something that works, for instance, for the Vive or for the Quest or what have you, and you're using OpenXR, well, you can actually show it on our displays as well. It's not a singular thing. If you make something in Unity, it's just adding the plugin and you can use it on our display. But if you want to use the full part, you can use our SDK, and you can actually determine what you want to use, how you want to use it, etc. And to give you an idea how that looks like, I have two small clips. So this is a Shape Lab. This is a program a bit like ZBrush. And you see what they actually did an SDK integration, and they made panels. So they use a display. When you have display, you have a menu. So what if I can combine a menu that's still there, that floats in the space, but the content is still immersive. So in this case, to sculpt and to design. So you see this girl, she designs the dragon, and she can make adjustments in real time. And it's just easy because it's just behind the monitor, behind the desk. Another example is using OpenXR. This is Blender. This is André Dedouze. It's a French artist. And he uses a Wacom tablet. And he draws on his tablet. And then he connects the tablet to a laptop that has our Immersity Platform. So what he does, he draws here. And he can actually see directly on the tablet how, in spatial part, that design is working. Is he on the right layer? Does he need to make an adjustment? If you want to see his design, we also have it down in our booth. And it's pretty, when you see the immersive and you see the normal, there's quite a difference. So these are the examples of how you do that. So practically, how does it then work? Here you see me at CES giving some demos. And the first demo is where we're using DaVinci and DaVinci Resolve. And we're using DaVinci to send out stereo, in this case, video. So stereo video. And we're simply sending it to our monitor. And we're asking our monitor, hey, capture this stereo and bring it to an immersive version. So in this case, it's Avatar, playing on DaVinci, on a regular laptop, nothing special, then pushing it to a monitor. In the second one, you see Blender, and so what the Deuce is making. And we're using here split screen. So on the left side is Blender, the normal program, making adjustments. And on the right side, it's immersive. If you want, you can make it full screen, back and forth. But it's like to make quick adjustments or quick inspection of how you are working. In this case, using OpenXR. Another example of the SDK is the medical one, and this is the third one. This is with Avatar Medical. And when you have a CT scan, these are all these slices. And yeah, you can pick a point of a slice and see what's there, but if you combine that, it actually becomes a 3D model. So what they did is on the left side, you have the slice, you can select an area, and on the right side, you actually see what's there. So when, I don't know, your doctor says, well, there's this issue here with your jaw, and we need to put something back here, you will actually see what that means. And that's how they use it in terms of doctor to patient. And last but not least, it's also about unlocking content. And it's nice to see that our platform inspires others. So we invited the guest, Greg. He's also here today. He's from a company called Portal VR. And what he did, he said, well, if I have this display, which is immersive, what if I can also use controllers? How would that be? So in this case, he's using Beat Saber, but it can be anything. And what he did, he's using here a Quest just to track the controllers. But he's actually interacting with the content on the device, which all of a sudden means that you can actually, like VR, you can move around in the world, you can use a controller to navigate, and on the right side, you can control whatever. It's just about how you set it up. In here, we're showing, we can show Beat Saber. We're showing here Google Earth, which is kind of fun. I didn't see it myself before this show, because we're just displaying what's there. But if you take Google Earth, which is already a bit older, but you go and you use the VR version, you can simply just browse and go on the, you see the world, while you're still in this, I'd say, you're in this your own context. And for me as a person, that's actually pretty nice, because if I put on the glasses, I get motion sick at some point. It's the same if I put it in the car, start to read, I cannot do that. But this I actually can. But more important, it's a quick way to experience something or to adjust something. So what we try to do is make an immersive experience available on any device and facilitate the ease of use of it. We're near not to make a new device or a new something specific that only works in isolation. No, something which is generic, which follows the industry standard, and is easy for users to adjust. So our job is to unlock the immersive world, and I hope that this small talk helps you a bit to understand what we do. But most importantly, you can, if you want, you can just come here and take a look at the tablet, how it works, or downstairs at the booth or just behind the Qualcomm. And we have a few screens there, which I think is an even nicer experience. And that was basically the talk I had. If you have any questions, do let me know.
Thank you. That was Yakman Taminiu.
Thank you.
With Beyond XR, the shift towards spatial, immersive, digital experiences. Do we have any questions in the audience today?
Or am I super clear?
All right, we got two. All right, first one here.
I was just going to say that he makes some of the cool stuff in the whole place.
Thanks.
It's pretty cool. Saw one hand back here.
I just want to know about any of the most compelling metrics from any experience that you've built or seen built for Leia.
The most, the best experience? Whew. By metrics. Phew. No, it's hard to single out some experience because let's put it differently. I think the best is people ask us, do you need something specific or need to close down the light or can I show this? Can I do this? And the answer is always yes. So I was at another trade show and there were some guys from Canon and they have this fish-eye double camera, which is nice. And these guys were showing that and said, well, you know that your content could also just be on a display. And I said, well, So do you have some concept? Yeah, sure. Okay, let's feed it to the, let's put it in. We put in the player, and they were looking like, whoa, this actually is possible. So I think what I really, in terms of what is nice is that it's no longer about us where we're best in. No, we're just a display. We're not a display, we're a technology that creates an immersive experience. And we're helping to elevate the experience that somebody else created. I think that's where I take most pride at.
Any more questions? All right,
So
well,
if you haven't done so, please come down, because the only hard thing for us is seeing is believing, so of understanding. So we're just down there, and come pay us a visit if you haven't done so already.
What's your booth number?
That's a good question. Nicole, do you know what our booth number is? Huh?
1029.
1029, just behind Qualcomm.